For thousands of years, the sands of North Africa have hidden the realities of the ancient world behind a veil of mythology. And no figure is more shrouded in that mythology than Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt. We often picture her as the physical embodiment of the Nile, a ruler tied to the desert and the pyramids by ancient native blood. But look closely at the facial features and the tightly curled hairstyle of this contemporary marble portrait. She was entirely of Greek descent, a Macedonian Greek woman ruling as the symbol of Egyptian identity created a massive political paradox. To hold her throne, she had to master the art of total cultural immersion. The Greek presence in Egypt started centuries earlier, driven by the sprawling military campaigns of Alexander the Great. This map tracks what happened after his death. His massive empire fractured, and his top general, a man named Ptolemy, carved out the wealthy territory of Egypt for himself. Ptolemy installed himself as pharaoh by military force. As you can see on this silver coin, he stamped the economy with his own profile and the Greek eagle, placing a foreign ruling class over the native population. For 300 years, his descendants, the Ptolemaic dynasty, lived inside a heavily guarded, purely Greek bubble in the capital city of Alexandria, remaining isolated from the millions of Egyptians they ruled. By the time Cleopatra inherited the throne, that isolation had bred deep resentment. Military dominance was slipping, and she needed a new way to keep her subjects from tearing the palace down. The cultural divide was massive. Outside the Greek capital stood structures like the Edfu Temple, colossal monuments to an ancient religion that viewed her family as foreign occupiers. To close that gap, Cleopatra bypassed the military entirely and focused on her own education. She developed a massive diplomatic range, becoming completely fluent in 9 distinct languages, handling negotiations in Greek and Latin without interpreters. But the most potent path is Egyptian. Cleopatra was the very first Ptolemaic pharaoh to actually learn the language of the people she governed. Mastering native Egyptian hieroglyphs, a complex writing system using stylized pictures to represent individual words and sounds, required years of intense study. She used this fluency to speak directly to the local priesthoods, participating in their ancient rituals, and presenting herself as the living reincarnation of the Egyptian goddess Isis. She secured the loyalty of the native population by speaking their language. That calculated approach extended to her private meetings with foreign dignitaries. Beyond the common myths of her physical appearance, she weaponized atmosphere and sensory influence to manipulate high-stakes diplomacy. She developed a highly concentrated signature fragrance, storing it in luxury vessels like this ancient glass perfume bottle. In the ancient world, custom scents were rare status symbols, reserved for the absolute elite. This infographic breaks down her exact recipe. She layered highly expensive cinnamon, rose, and myrrh to create an intensely sweet and spicy aroma. Before a Roman general even saw her, the heavy, expensive scent filled the room, establishing her wealth and power on a subconscious level. She engineered an intoxicating personal brand, ensuring that the men deciding the fate of the Mediterranean would never forget her presence. Eventually, the sheer, expanding weight of the Roman Empire proved too much for any diplomatic strategy to hold back. In a final attempt to stabilize her borders, she formed a deeply intertwined political and romantic alliance with Roman general Mark Antony. When their combined forces fell to Rome, she faced the prospect of being dragged through the streets of Italy as a captive. According to historical accounts, she bypassed her captors by ending her own life with the venomous bite of an asp. Notice the staging in this depiction. Even in her final moments, she curated the optics. Dying by snakebite allowed her to exit the world as a goddess rather than a defeated mortal. Historians continue to debate the exact details of her tomb, but texts claim she was buried alongside Mark Antony, locking their alliance into the historical record forever. Cleopatra utilized linguistic mastery, calculated branding, and dramatic optics to transform herself from a foreign occupier into an eternal legend. Even after her Roman rivals tried to rewrite her history as a villain, her own carefully crafted image remains the world's most enduring memory of the pharaohs.
Like, share, and subscribe our channel.